Hello, lovely humans, and welcome to Helping Humans. I'm your host, Misty J. Zanger, and this is my podcast. If you're listening, cool. If you're watching and listening, even cooler. I hope you enjoy it, and it's meant for people who want to help themselves and others. If that's you, keep on listening. And if it's not, there are other people out there, and that's fantastic too. So, buckle up. It's going to be an interesting ride full of all sorts of different conversations, topics, questions, answers. I hope there's a little bit of something here for everyone. That's the goal. And happy listening. Hello, lovely humans, and welcome back. We're in our 4th episode of Helpin' Humins. And after our last one on learning through words, if you haven't listened to that, maybe you head back there, and the importance of hearing, seeing, and taking in our world through words, closed captioning, subtitles, and the Libby app were all kind of showcased in the last episode. And to go in tandem with that, I thought we could maybe talk and share a little bit more about some of the most impactful books I've read, highlighting for sure one specific one that really, I think, just spoke to me in a way that made me understand the world and myself in this world a little bit more clearly, and sent me on a whole new trajectory. And I've gone back to that book a few times in the last couple years to just remind myself there's all sorts of hidden nuggets in it. So that's one thing. And then talk about another app that's also helpful when it comes to reading and having a database of books, what you want to read, what you have read, what you're currently reading, all the things. So if we want to dive right in, the book I want to showcase that I would say changed my life as of late was Glennon Doyle's Untamed. So it was her second book she wrote. She is the one who does the audio too, so you really feel it when you listen to it. I've mostly listened to it the few times I've read it. Because hearing her words versus you saying it in your mind, it just has a different way of connecting. You're literally hearing Glennon tell her story, and the impact that has is tremendous. And when I first read this, okay, I keep saying read the book. I did listen to it, but I'm just going to use that language. I first interacted with the book, I guess would be best, in like early September of 2023. So almost 2 years ago. And I've probably listened to it 3 or 4 times since. And I have a note in my phone that is a lengthy, I have to scroll a few times to see the bottom of the note, and just to highlight some of the lessons learned. So I'm just going to name a couple. One is that we are tamed by shame and put into a bunch of boxes and labels and defined by those which we hold so dearly. Like, I used to be a teacher, and that label became a part of me so much that when I lost that role in my life, I floundered, and life was a struggle because I heavily identified with that so much. She describes it in an event of like being in glasses, and it's it's not necessary, I guess, to over define and label ourselves and put us in a box. It's easier to live in the wide openness, which I say easier because there's a reason those labels and boxes were invented, because we can form community and bonds over it and self identify. But if we over identify, sometimes we can overdo it, and it can be detrimental, like so many things in our lives that we can ingest or partake in. And if you overdo it, it's just, even water can be a bad thing to consume too much of. With her, becoming human again is so hard. And remembering that you are put here for a reason and there's challenges, and living through the emotional turmoil of that and actually feeling your feelings versus numbing them or avoiding them. And she really taps into a way of knowing and intuition, and realizing that that's part of the reason she hasn't, and lots of us haven't, lived a good life or the best life we'd like to live, is because we aren't living within ourselves. We're outwardly living to please other people or societal norms or expectations. So she really does a fantastic job of giving so many personal stories that really just ring true. And she's such a well-spoken person, and you feel it. But even in her writing, it's fantastic too. So I encourage you to tap into the Glennon Doyle Untamed world, especially if you're feeling lost or struggling. Give it a listen. Or if you want to read the book, cool. She also has an accompanying journal to help you work through a few things too. And if you also really enjoy it, I went down the lengthy rabbit hole of the We Can Do Hard Things podcast with her wife Abby, and her sister Amanda. And the We Can Do Hard Things podcast got me through some really hard days, weeks, months, and over a year of my life of rebooting and figuring out, how does this work? Now that I've shed so much of me, how do I move forward and feel good about where I'm going? So there's my little plug for good book, good podcast, and good people that are trying to help other people. So where can you go wrong with that? And they bring in all sorts of guests and also talk about their own personal stuff. They're vulnerable, like all the good things. It's wonderful. When I read a book, listen to a book, explore a book, I use the Goodreads app, which you should be able to get on your phone or tablet or even online and create yourself a little account. You can upload a little picture, you can say who you are, and then you get to do all the inputs of, you can search for any book by author, by title, by anything really. And then you can create categories of whether you want to read that book, you've already read that book, or you're currently reading the book. And even if you're currently reading a book, you can update the progress as you go. Like, I'm made it, 12 pages in, and I'm going to update it there. My Libby app does a decent amount of my progress checks, so I don't use that function per se on the Goodreads app. But when I'm reading a book, I input it in, and then when I'm done, I go and say, I'm done reading it. And then it cues me to give a little ranking out of 5 stars. What do you give it? And also a review. And initially I wasn't doing, not very good at even putting in anything at all, but then I really got into the idea of knowing the books I've read, knowing if I liked them or not by the star ranking, and also finally writing reviews. And they didn't have to be anything long, but you can read everyone else's review on the book too before you start reading it. And with me doing the reviews, it at least tells other people versus just like, oh, it's 4 out of 5 stars. Well, why did they lose a star? Or why did they gain 4 stars? And most of mine, unless I'm really caught off by something, most of mine I'm really generous and give 5 out of 5 stars. But I like it in that I can also see friends who have connected with me through the app. I can get an email sent to me on the occasion. I would say it happens every couple weeks. And I get an email that will update me on what they've currently reading, what they've read, and their star rankings on those books, as well as reviews. And then I can say, I want to read that book. And so then it goes into my category of the want to reads. So I really like it. It's a great little housing unit of all things book. So do what you will with that. I really think they need a good media, whatever we want to call it, an app where you can have anything from podcasts, TV shows, movies, you name it, anything that you're going to ingest, that you can do the same thing. And we can have, like, I'm watching this documentary. And then I can rank it right there, and it's all housed. And then your friends can say, oh, Misty watched that documentary. She gave it 2 stars and mentioned that this was the issue, whatever it might be. Or, oh, she listened to this podcast and 5 out of 5 stars, and this is why she loves it. So I think it's really cool, the technology, what apps can do. Again, this was example of reading and tying in with sharing. Sharing is caring, they say, for a lot of moments, and I think it's always nice to hear from others what's the next good read, what'll help me. And there's so many different categories of books that it would be disappointing and a little sad to have people say, I don't like to read. Well, that's fair. I didn't like to read books either for the most part. Then I found young adult books, and those were easier to read. And then, unlike The Hobbit, it took me all of grade 8 to pretend to read most of that book, which I don't think I ever finished. It was just too much for me. And not realizing that there was all these other genres, and I never explored it. It was never shown to me until I started substitute teaching in an English class, and I was like, oh, and started eating it up and had the time to do it. But then audiobooks changed the game for me a lot too. So I felt like I could drive and listen to a whole book. Sometimes I would follow along and have the book in person. Unbroken is the one I could think of, that I listened to the book, but also had the book because there's cool pictures of the actual people and places in the book. So it's kind of nice to sometimes have them both in tandem with one another, and then go and watch the movie after it's been produced. So all sorts of cool things in the media world, all things that can make you a better you. So why not try and invest in you and explore and have fun doing it? It's my thoughts on the matter, and I really do hope this helps you in some way, shape, or form. And stay tuned for our next episode. Again, who knows what that'll be on, but come back and check it out, and we will see you again soon, hear from you soon. And also have the best day, week, month, year you can until next time. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Helping Humins, a video podcast by Misty J. Zanger. If you are wanting to reach out, follow, and connect further, here's a few ways you can do it. My website, www.mistyjzanger.ca. Email mistyjzanger@gmail.com. On TikTok, username realteachertalk, TOK. And the name that comes up with that is Mystified. I also have a Facebook page under Misty J. Zanger Coaching and Consulting. There's also a Helping Humins group that you could try and join too. Follow along there. Instagram, I am at MJZ_happiness life coach. And also my Goodreads, one of my favorite things that you can share the love of what you read. And I'm now writing reviews for all my books, so you can find me there, Misty Zanger. And there's other odds and ends places, but those are the main ones that I can think of that are on the for you to be most interested in. That's what I got for now, and thank you again, and happy helping humans. Thank you so much, lovely human, for listening to the Helping Humans podcast, which is created, hosted, and produced by Misty J. Zanger and is a Mystified Productions podcast.